Which chair are you talking about?
Just the one at the end.
This one?
Yeah.
This one?
No, not that one. That
This
one's all
one?
the way out. Yeah. No, it's not.
Now it's just me and you?
No, it's just you and me.
You and me. Is it you and me or you and I? You and...
It's you and me.
You and me.
It
yes.
Is. No, it is you and I, because I would be the subject of the sentence.
If I were to say it by myself, it's like I. Then
It
it's
is
you
I.
and I.
It is you and I.
It is I.
It is
It is us.
It is we.
You look so nice.
Oh, thank you.
I don't dress up for these things. I'm just like...
But
I'm here.
I have this jacket on for a reason.
What is that reason? Oh, I know.
Well, because I want to talk about it later.
Well,
Not now.
let's talk about it. So,
Okay.
It is the first week of February, so that's a good time for us to actually talk about 2023.
That's not a bad time.
It's not a bad time.
It could be 2025 and we'd be talking about it.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
So we're just right on time.
We are. So welcome. I'm Chris.
I'm Stephanie.
And this is the Better Together podcast that we call Unpacked.
And it's because we are better together.
We are. And we're also... Are we unpacked? We're kind of unpacked. We're
packing.
Yes. Yes.
We're always packing.
We're always packing and unpacking. That's something
True
to talk
that.
about at some point. Do we ever like totally unpack?
No.
We
Why
really
would we do that?
don't. Yeah. There's always a bunch of staple stuff. We're like, we may be going somewhere tomorrow, so let's keep it packed.
Well, I definitely know we're going somewhere in the next 30 days. So
We are.
There are some things I'm just always going to keep packed. In fact, I bought some smaller size cosmetics and skincare and things for that very
Just for
purpose.
packing?
Just so that I don't have to unpack.
Now, do you ever like buy like the travel size containers and just take your large things and pour them into them?
Often.
Yeah.
But with things like foundation and things like that, no.
I don't either.
Okay, good.
So, but let's talk about the year that was 2023.
It was fabulous.
It was. So we ended the year. Well, let's start back at the beginning.
Okay.
So, in this podcast, we're going to basically kind of walk you through our year, and then I've got a couple of quiz questions for you to see how alike we are.
Okay. Sounds
All
like
right?
fun.
So, where do we start the year off at?
In January, we were in Mexico, Mérida.
We were back in Mexico in the Yucatan, and we actually stayed in Progreso, which is the beach community about 40 minutes north of Mérida. Mm-hmm. And this was our first trip but second...
What?
Let me take that step back. So we went with friends on this trip.
We did.
With Brian and Delise.
Yep.
We love you guys.
Yep.
We met them about a year and a half prior. No, actually, yeah, about a year and a half prior.
Right.
And
Something like that.
in Riviera Maya. And then they came to visit us in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And then we went to Progreso with them.
Right. But did we stay in Chaberna?
We did. We stayed in Chaberna. So we went up to Progreso.
Which is kind of like a suburb.
Yeah. Progreso is becoming a very hopping place, but we decided to go a little bit west of Progreso and stayed in a little town of Chaberna right on the beach. And that was a great week. Mm-hmm. And to be fair, that was our first time actually taking one of these adventures and bringing another couple along with us. Mm-hmm. And it went fabulous.
Well, we knew we'd get along though, because
Yes.
when we met them in Mexico the first time, they were so much fun.
Yes, and it was a great experience, I think, for them, kind of seeing how we travel, and it was nice for us to really have company, because that's, I think we've talked about this before. That's been one of the challenges that we've had, and I don't know if others have kind of shared in their YouTube stories that, you know, there's times where you'd love to be able to experience it not just with your partner but with others, and it could be challenging. It's a combination of the timing, budgets,
Sure.
and just their inclination of wanting to do the type of traveling that we do.
Right. Well, and a lot of people want to go someplace where they're familiar and maybe aren't as adventuresome as we might be at times.
Yes.
So there's that.
But we had a great week in Progreso, in Chaberna, and then spending some time in Mérida, which will come back up again a little bit later.
Sure.
And so that was January.
Yep.
And so then where were we in February?
February we went to Guatemala. Because
yes.
this guy talked me into hiking up a mountain, and he says he gave me more runway to prepare, but I
Pretty much the
not-
day we got married.
I must not have paid attention when he said we were going to hike a mountain, because I went to the gym every day for 2 weeks straight, because that's how long I was training.
I think in our vows I said there's going to be a lot of climbing, and you're like, yes.
So we went to Antigua,
Yes,
Guatemala.
we stayed in Antigua for a week, and it was a beautiful Airbnb that's right at the arch.
Right.
That's part
Right
of
at the clock tower.
The picture that everyone looks at when they look at Antigua. And then, like Stephanie said, we for some reason decided to climb a volcano.
Acatenango.
So you can see a copy of the link to the video up here. But it was enjoyable. It was a great experience.
It was very memorable.
And I think one of the things we found consistent when we think about the places we enjoyed, it's the people, it's the culture, it's the food. And Antigua just really hit on all those notes for us.
And it was beautiful too, like the locale. I'd say the topography, or the, whether it's the beach or the mountains, the hiking.
You and your big words.
So
that was February, and I made a promise that was going to be the last time I climbed up anything taller than a king-size bed.
you did.
And to prove our point, in March, we went to...
Nevis, St. Kitts.
Yes. Stayed at the Four Seasons Resort there. That was a trip that was afforded to us because of Stephanie's career as a financial advisor. There's always opportunities for her to get recognized and rewarded for how well she supports her customers. And that was a trip that we took that cost us $0 out of pocket. Really,
Sure.
Fantastic experience.
It was really fun.
I think we both agreed that it was definitely outside of our norm.
Definitely.
There wasn't a kitchen.
That was our first actual trip with my firm.
Yes.
Because prior to that, during COVID, they had issued those travel cards. And so Chris and I were able to travel quite a lot, quite extensively, on the same dollars that my firm will use for just one trip.
Yeah.
So it was a very, I would say, extravagant, luxurious trip. And
Very nice.
very outside the norm.
Yes.
For the way that we normally travel.
From what we had just done in February, we earned it. We deserved it. And then
So go watch the Acatenango video,
Yes.
because it was really quite a hike that Chris took me on.
literally and figuratively.
Literally
Yes.
and literally.
Yeah. But then we said, hold my passport, and in March,
In April, for our anniversary,
we went to
the Maldives.
yes.
On one of those overwater bungalows, that's where we stayed.
Beautiful.
One of those once in a lifetime, postcard picture perfect vacations. And not only that, but Chris booked us in the Q suite on Qatar Airlines. So we had the fold down, full-size bed on the overnight flight.
Which
so,
we did not make full use of.
I slept well.
Fine. She slept well. But
So anyway.
yeah, but that was a trip where we really, took advantage of every single hack or experience that we've learned from. Everything from, knowing how to use Expert Flyer to find which flights on Qatar or Qatar, depending upon,
where you come
where
from.
you come from.
From whence you hail.
To find out which of their flights actually had the Q suites. And then working with American Airlines to make sure that we were actually on that flight and had those seats. And then the research we did on luxuryescapes.com to find out which Maldives resort we wanted to stay at. And then using the points that we had for the flight, not only there, but then transferring points to American for the Qatar flight, and then transferring points to Aeroplan for the flight home on Etihad, which was also business class.
Right.
And it was just one of those where we did a great job of just leveraging what we've learned, what we share, to make it one that we spent literally a tenth of the overall cost of that trip, which was in the five figures.
So Chris is really cute when he says we planned all of this, because I don't know if you've watched enough videos to know that Stephanie does none of the planning. Stephanie shows up with a suitcase.
Well, but like when you see like a construction crew on the side of the road, right, and you see the one guy there like just watching them, that encouragement means a lot.
Yes.
Knowing that she's there going, all right.
Good job.
That's all I need.
Good job.
So yeah,
You did
we're
such a
partners
good
in
job.
this. And then so that was the Maldives in April, and then in May had to go and look.
Oh yeah, we went to Nashville.
We went down to Nashville. That was great. So we had not been to Nashville together before, and so that was a nice trip for us. We actually have a home that we bought for as part of our retirement. Just north of Nashville, so it was an opportunity to spend time in Nashville and then go check in on the home, and
Right.
it was a nice weekend. I think we were there for about 2 or 3 days before heading up to Clarksville. But I think sometimes it's easy for us to forget that sometimes just having those weekends away can be great.
Very refreshing.
Yes.
To get out of the routine and go do something.
And for that one, we used miles that we had with American Airlines. And we took advantage of our American Express Platinum card that provides a $200 voucher or credit towards staying at one of their hotel groups. And so we're actually able to use it to stay at the Conrad there in Nashville, and had not only an upgraded room, but I think it was about $30 a day and expensed food for breakfast and their happy hours. It was just a wonderful time that, again, we really kind of tried to maximize where we had put money on the cards throughout the year for paying bills, paying that off, but then still having those rewards available to us.
Right.
And then the next month, and part of the reason why we didn't go anywhere further outside the U.S. in May was because our oldest daughter got married in June. And so...
She sure did.
Yes.
So that was busy.
That was very busy, but... But Elizabeth and Danny had a wonderful wedding. We couldn't be more happy or proud of the two of them.
Yep.
But then we had to get going again. So the next month we took a cruise. And that was another first for us, right? So we went to, we took Royal Caribbean.
Yep.
Royal Caribbean cruise. This was another trip that was courtesy of Stephanie's work as a financial advisor, but that was a week-long cruise on Royal Caribbean of the Mediterranean.
Right. Yep. Started in Barcelona.
Yep.
Hit Spain and
France and
Italy.
Yep. And another great trip. I think we resigned ourselves to the fact that as much as we love cruising, perhaps we'll do it a little bit different next time, because you're spending 6 hours in a place and then back on the boat and then doing the next thing for 5 days was a lot.
It was a lot, because there were 2 days that we had 10-hour back-to-back excursions off the boat. So I think I was more tired when we got done than when we started that trip. So
now to be fair, if there are individuals that for a cruise and being able to see that much of a particular part of the world on one trip is exactly up their alley, particularly if it's a trip that's once in a lifetime or once every few years. But what we realized was that that was kind of like a tapas type of trip for us, where we saw little bits of different places.
Just little bites.
Yes.
Not enough to fill you up on any one place, but little tidbits of each one.
Yeah, and in fact, we actually opted to, after the cruise ended in Barcelona, we stayed for a couple more days just to kind of get a sense of more about Barcelona. That was your first time there anyways. But being able to enjoy Barcelona for a few days and kind of really be a little more relaxed before we got back on a flight to come back to the U.S. was good.
For sure. All right. And then
then we went back to, we enjoyed the time in Nashville, so we did it again in August, and just spent a weekend in Chicago. We love living here in the Chicago area, and it's very easy to sometimes forget that it's just a world-class city that has a lot to offer. So having a weekend in Chicago, staying downtown, we actually stayed at the London House, which is part of
Right.
the Hilton Curio collection. Again, took advantage of, in this case, the fact that we had one of the nights that were free based upon the spend we had put on our Hilton Amex card. So being able to do that, actually found out how to sneak up to the cupola at the top of the London House and take some pictures there. Because this young lady was a little sneaky and saying,
What?
doesn't say we can't go up there.
It didn't. It was perfectly fine. We were perfectly safe.
Yes. So we did that, and then the next month we
So
actually...
which month are we in now?
So now we're in
September?
September, yes.
Chicago in August, and now we're in September?
Yes, we are, and that trip was to San Francisco and up to Napa Valley.
That was so fun.
That was a great trip as well. Again, in this case, we took advantage of the Chase points that we had to get the $50 discount on our stay at one of the Marriott hotels in the city. And then we actually used some of the points we had from our Bank of America card to offset the cost for using Viator for an actual full day a tour of Napa Valley with some wineries, Sausalito, and Muir Woods.
Yeah, that was a really good trip. That was really fun.
So, if you watched our videos before, there's a running theme here that we really try to maximize the value that we can get from the everyday expenses that we have by putting them on the credit cards that allows us to get the rewards in terms of either cash back, our miles, our hotel points, paying off those cards, and then it's really like free money that you can use for your trips. And so we were very appreciative to be able to do that again in September.
For sure.
And then in October, we had another opportunity to go on a trip with friends again.
That was a lot of fun too.
And this time we actually took advantage of a timeshare that we own.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see a couple of videos that we have on timeshare experiences. But in this case, it was a timeshare resort there in Riviera Maya that was just fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So that was something that we did with Earl and Jamesetta. So that was a stay at the Grand Lux in Riviera Maya.
Okay.
Beautiful resort. But very similar to both our experiences in the Maldives as well as within the Four Seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely outside of, I wouldn't say our comfort zone, but definitely outside of
it was very comfortable.
very comfortable. And it was nice to be able to share that with them because again, we had two contrasts this year. We had the trip up to Sherburne as part of the Yucatan with Earl and
With Delise
and
Brian.
And that was an Airbnb stay on the beach. Did a lot of walking around, had a great experience there.
Mm-hmm.
But then we had another experience staying at just a world class resort with Jamesetta and Earl. And I think both couples really enjoyed the time that they had with us, the experiences that they had, and it was again just another opportunity. In this case, the timeshare that we pay a fixed amount per year for afforded us for an additional $150 to stay at this luxurious resort for a full week.
That was really, really a great time with them.
It definitely was. And then we came back, and I had a couple of work trips, but then we ended the year in Vietnam.
We sure did.
That was a surprising
sure
trip,
did.
just how much we enjoyed it.
We loved it.
Yeah.
I think I can speak for both of us. Like, Vietnam, fabulous.
We sometimes, particularly around this time of the year, will look and see what's available as we start looking towards the end of the subsequent year. And this was one where we were able to get just a great, what effectively ended up being about $700 each round trip to go to Hanoi, Vietnam. Really wasn't on our bucket list.
No.
But it was something that...
Until it was.
And
now it is.
Now it's someplace that, in fact, spoiler alert, we'll be going there again this year.
That's the plan. Absolutely.
So, we covered a lot for this year. Now, we each have our trusty whiteboard.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you some questions, and let's see if we come up with how our answers differ from one another.
All right.
Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. So, the first question is, what was your most memorable travel this year?
Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay.
I said Maldives.
Really?
Yeah.
I put Vietnam.
Awesome. Okay, what's your reason?
So I think the reason came down to the people and the interacting with the people.
Yeah.
I loved the Maldives, but in terms of the one I think about the most, it's probably just everything from, riding bikes through Vietnam to get out to be able to do some hiking, the 3-day cruise on in Halong Bay, being in Hanoi, being in Ninh Binh, just all of that together, I think is the one that the most memories I come back to is that.
So for me, the most memorable was the Maldives because it's always been on my bucket list to stay in an overwater bungalow and to have a whole island that was a resort and a resort that was a whole island and being able to bicycle everywhere and just all of the adventures that we had there. So for me, it was the Maldives.
I like that. And we talked about the fact that we did actually more bicycling in 2024
than we have in a decade.
I haven't done that much bicycling in 30 plus years. So, and no one was hurt. Okay, so here's a little spin on that question. What was the most memorable experience that you had? Okay, ready?
Yep. Snorkeling with Chris.
Wow, we are just tracking so differently.
Yep.
The most memorable hiking, Akatanango. Yeah.
Akatanango.
Yeah.
So, yes.
By the way, just like last month, I finally got my toenails back.
That's not even untrue. That
so
is
the
absolutely
snorkeling.
true. Snorkeling, which is part of the reason why it was such a memorable trip.
Yeah.
Because it was your first time snorkeling and seeing you come up out of the water the first time. So the first time he'd ever snorkeled, he came up out of the water and he said, "It's a whole world under there."
Yeah, it's like I'm in an aquarium. It was fantastic.
It was so precious. And then I got so sunburnt because that's all we did.
Yeah, my back was sunburned. The back of my legs were sunburned.
Once you realize what an adventure it was just to snorkel there
Couldn't get me out of the water.
Yeah.
So you can see a video of that experience up there with the snorkeling.
Yep. Okay, what's your next question?
Okay, the next one is, what was the most memorable restaurant meal that you had?
Oh, gosh, that's a really hard one.
I know, right? I think we're definitely going to be off. Yeah, we might be close on this one. We'll see.
Okay.
You ready?
Yep. What did you say?
The virtual chef.
Oh, that was so cool. I put the burger on New Year's Eve because I've never waited 3 hours and had it be worth it.
Yes. So
I can't remember the name of the place.
We forgot to mention. So on New Year's Eve with James Eder and Earl, we went back and stayed in Chicago. I didn't include that because it was New Year's Eve, but I should have. But we were back in Chicago, and we decided to try our hand at getting into Al Cheval for dinner.
That's the name of it.
And to say that, because it's ranked as like being the best burger in the world, and we know that for certain. In fact, I had a business meeting, I think the following week or 2 weeks later, and
I wasn't jealous at all. I wasn't jealous at all.
You know, it's during the week. Let's see if we can make it in there. And I went and had the burger there again.
That was ridiculous.
All right. So
Okay.
the next question is, what was the most memorable accommodations that you had for the year? Hold on. I'm not going to cheat and look. No one tell me what she said.
Finally,
we're on the same page?
Maldives.
Yes. Yeah. That was
For sure.
That was fantastic. Like you said, being over the water.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And again, through our planning, we could look out and see just nothing but water the entire way. It wasn't like you looked out and you could see like
any structures.
anything at all.
There was nothing.
It was fantastic. And again, our hats off to our butler for the week, Bob. Fantastic young man and just a great experience all around.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so next question is, this is a good one, if I do say so myself.
All right,
If
good.
you could be there today, where would you be?
I've got an answer for that.
I've got an answer too. And, oh boy, it's so close. Let me see. Like right now today, it would be, I think we're going to differ on this, but let's see. Oh yeah. My close number 2 was Merida.
My close number 2 was Ninh Binh.
Was it? Yeah. Because I could have said Vietnam, but yeah.
Yep.
And it wasn't Merida because we just came back from there.
Yeah,
again.
we were just there
But
2 weeks ago. And it was lovely.
It really was, and we enjoyed the boat. But if I could just be anywhere right now today,
Yep.
that's where it'd be.
Yep.
Yeah. So another example of a place where the people, the culture, just really had an impact on us, and we just really fell in love with Hanoi.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got 3 more. Okay, if you could gift one of our travels, the whole experience, to someone else, which one would it be? I should say somebody that you like. Not that it make a difference. Like,
Okay.
when we were in prison. Ready?
Yeah. I said the Mediterranean cruise to our parents.
Oh, see, I didn't get that specific. I just said the Maldives.
Yeah. Well, that would make a great gift.
Yes.
But I think our parents would really have enjoyed taking a cruise. Now, I wouldn't give them the whole trip. I wouldn't make them go on all those excursions. But they could if they wanted to.
You know what? If there was any of these that I would change my answer on, it would be that one. Because you're right. The cruise is something that there's something for everyone. And you have your choice.
Yeah.
Right? You can choose not to get off on all the locations. And in
Or
fact,
just stick real close to the boat. You could get off and just take a taxi to a little shopping area or restaurants nearby.
yeah, the
You
important
wouldn't
thing
have to go
is
for 10
not
hours.
getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get off the boat at 8 o'clock, you know.
Especially every day.
Yeah.
That was fun. It was exhausting, but it was fun.
It was.
Yep.
All right. Next to last one is if you could spend an additional week anywhere, where would it have been? That's another tough one for me. So of all the time that we spent, if there was a place where you'd say, you woke up and said, surprise, we could stay for another week here.
That one's not hard for me.
No?
No.
Okay.
Didn't been.
Okay. So again, we're really closely to, in other words, Vietnam.
Vietnam.
But yeah, Ninh Binh I think is probably better than Hanoi just because we didn't get as much time in Ninh Binh as we did get in Hanoi.
And because it's so clean. So it's Vietnam, but it's not so crazy busy like Hanoi. It's like a small little town, and we rode bicycles and got to go out to that park. And
in fact, Ninh Binh reminded me a lot more of Merida. And Hanoi was much more like when we did go into the newer part of Merida.
or any other bustling big city.
Yeah. And it definitely wasn't that it wasn't clean. It's just it's a bustling city. And so there's just a lot of just noise congestion and everything else, which we liked.
I should have said fresh air.
That's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Ninh Binh was just ample fresh air and just room to roam, and I don't know. I'm a small town girl, so I really
girl.
I enjoyed
All right.
that.
So now one highlight and one low light.
Okay.
I can come up with my low light really easily.
I'm not sure I'm spelling it right.
I think we're going to be so different. Maybe on both of these. Maybe on both of these. We'll see.
Okay.
Ready?
Yep. Ready.
1, 2, 3. I don't think you can read my handwriting. So the highlight was the dolphin cruise. And the low light was the argument that we had in Tam Coc in Vietnam.
Gotcha. So for me, the highlight was Akatanango going up, and the low light was Akatanango coming down. And then the second highlight was just being done with Akatanango.
That's good. I like that.
So Akatanango filled all those buckets for me.
See, I would say that the going down was not a highlight for me, but it was I enjoyed being there for you.
Well, that's
So
why
you can see the video up here.
being done was a highlight.
That's good.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we had an argument in Vietnam that just came down to communication, and it was one of those where it took time off from that day.
It did.
And we learned from it, but we joke about it. But one of the challenges when you do, not one of the challenges, but one of the unique things about when you travel as much as we do, and you do have an argument, it's highly probable that you're going to be someplace where you're kind of stuck with each other anyways, and you got to kind of work it out.
For sure.
And we did, and the rest of the trip was great. But And in fact, we did some hiking after that.
We sure did.
That really kind of reinforced just how much we love and partner with each other.
And how much I was right.
And how much she was right. How much she was right. She was right. I'm still learning, but yeah, it's good. I appreciate your humility. That means a lot.
No, here, before we go though, I do want to point out this jacket. Because even though it wasn't one of my answers, it definitely was one of my most memorable experiences. So this comes in a close second to watching you pop up out of the water and be like, it's a whole new world down there. Second to that was you taking me to have some clothing tailor-made. And this is one of those jackets, and it's reversible.
It is reversible. It's very nice.
And it is one that is just custom designed to fit me. And I was able to choose the material and the pattern. And so
very nice.
I just wanted to wear it and share it because it was a great experience. Yeah. And I think we've got the name of the tailor. Can you put that
I'll put the name
below?
of the tailor right down here. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was great just being there and kind of watching that whole experience for you. And we're going to get a chance to do it again later this year.
Ooh,
so
it's going to be so fun.
So we mentioned at the outset, we just came back from Merida. Mm-hmm. That's kind of our January go-to. Although we missed by one day getting out of here before the Chicago snow.
So it made us one day late.
Yeah, our flight actually got canceled because we were leaving the day that the snow arrived versus the day
that
before.
was sad.
But we just got back from there, and then we've got Hawaii coming up as another working week for us. So we're just going to work remotely from Hawaii for a week. And then in March, we have Palermo in Italy.
Right.
And then our daughter has requested we not go anywhere, at least for April, maybe May and June.
And even July, I think. She's pretty,
really?
She's pretty set on wanting us here. Because we are going to be welcoming.
We're going to be grandparents again. Yeah. So she wants us to kind of stay close to home for that. But what she doesn't know is that the moment that little baby is born, that we're going to be working on getting their passport. so she'll be keenly aware that when she asks us to watch him or her, that it may be that she calls up and we're on a plane somewhere with
the baby in tow.
Just kidding.
No.
Princess, that won't happen for at least a year. But then later in the year, we've got a couple more. I had to actually look here. August, we're going to Greece. So,
I'm so excited about that one.
For me, one of the things I really enjoy is there's two periods of the year that I really try to kind of hit the ball out of the park. One is in April when we have our wedding anniversary, and the other is in August because that is Stephanie's birthday. So I try to get a place that's on her bucket list of things and places that she wants to go to that really aren't on my body. And so there's... Did I just say that? You know what? It's still literally still a PG rated video,
okay.
So whatever.
All right.
And so we're going to Greece, and we're going to go to both Athens as well as to Santorini.
Yes.
And we'll have a video on that a little bit later, but this is another one where we took advantage of just saving and accumulating miles for both the flight there and back, which is great. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to wait a couple months and then take another vacation, a little bit longer this time, to Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
So we're going to start off by going into Bangkok, spending a few days there. And then the intent was to fly from there to Hoi An and then spend some time in Hanoi. But going from Bangkok, you fly into Da Nang. And once we found out about just some of the things that we can see and experience in Da Nang, we decided that we'll go and spend some time in Da Nang as well. And just take a little bit longer than what we typically do on these trips to really take advantage of spending some wonderful time in Southeast Asia and in Vietnam.
And I think it's time that we start getting our retirement muscles ready for being abroad.
Yeah, and where we want to spend our time. So we've got another podcast that we'll be working on that will kind of walk you through actually that the worksheet that we managed to kind of helps us to kind of keep track of what the potential cost of living is in different parts of the world in comparison to what we feel we would spend in the U.S. and that will kind of help us frame out where we spend our time through the course of the year. And spoiler alert, this will be a worksheet that we'll create a template from, and for you people who are subscribed to our channel, we'll actually make it available to you to use as part of your planning as well.
Absolutely.
So here's to a wonderful 2023 planning.
Cheers.
And execution. And we're going to be doing that again in 2024. So we welcome all your comments on what we've been able to do this past year, and any thoughts you have for our plans for 2024. And
Sure.
yeah, thank you for watching.
Thanks for subscribing.
Yes. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.